Hiya Meddlers, and welcome to episode 4 of me making a game in Blender. Today I'm going to be concentrating on the mechanics of the game really. I was going to do more graphics work, but I think, to be honest, to have a good game you need to have the workings behind the graphics. This is what the game's going to look like today after doing all the coding, or should I say putting the logic bricks in. I'm going to give the player the choice. They can either pick up the pickups, but when they do that it's going to put barriers in place, as you can see there. So of course then they go to avoid the barriers, but they can choose not to pick anything up. But why would you want to do that? Make the game too easy, wouldn't it? Well, the reason for that is like the player won't get many points and it'll look bad on them. They get a very low score if they don't go and pick up the pickups. You see, I'm picking up pickups, the barriers come in place. That's what we're going to do today. And the trapdoor opens as well. You pick up the second pickup, it opens up, and there's an instant death. I'm not going to have a death screen saying you've died because this game is going to be pretty difficult to play. I'm going to make it that way. And you don't want to have to keep clicking on, okay, I've died, I want to restart the game. That'll get annoying. So I'm just going to have it on an endless loop. I might tally up the scores eventually and how many retries you do, and that might go in with the scoring. Today we're just going to concentrate on the scoring system in a big way of the player. I'm going to have to remodify the player, so we'll probably start the editing the preferences on that. We'll just edit the player from scratch again, because having to go through existing data would be confusing when I'm adding new data, so I'm just going to recreate the player today. But you'll see the results are fantastic. I mean, the environments are really shaping up, so it is worth putting a lot of groundwork in, doing the coding before doing the graphics, because we're going to have to keep shigging everything around, if that's a word, moving things about to get things the way we want them. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial and it makes sense to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this player cube here. I've deleted all the entities from the last video because I'm going to start again, because having to explain them all when they're all laying there, it would just be too confusing. So I thought if I go along and explain them all properly, and this way works a lot better for me as well. When I want to introduce things later on in the game, I shouldn't have to change many things to make things work. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some game properties first. So we're going to add 4 of these. Okay, make all these integers. One there, add one there, and here, and guess what? We're going to add one there as well. Okay, the first one we're going to have is direct. That's from the last video, but I'll put that in anyway. That's the direction the cube, the player will be moving in. So basically, when a number's assigned, so say if like 1 is assigned, then it'll go along probably the y-axis, that way. Positive way. So anyway, so whatever number it is, it'll change direction. Okay, the second property, I'll call it pickup, because we were going to have pickups. I've deleted them in this one. I'm going to start these again because I'm going to add the entities again. So when you hit a pickup, it's just going to add a number to the pickup total. So we're going to have that recording that. The third one we're going to have is score M. I'm calling that score M because that's going to be a score multiplier. And you can probably guess how that works. You've played enough games. So that'll do that, and then we're going to have a score total. I'll just call that score T. So that obviously is the overall score the player will get, really. Okay, so we're first starting off. Let me look at my notes here, because I had to do a lot of practice runs and try and do this in my spare time, because it'd take forever. The video would be like 2 hours long otherwise if I didn't do this. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do, I'll start from scratch as I said. So I'm going to add a keyboard control to the first one. So we add that. That's going to be W. So basically what we're going to do is when you press the W, the cube is going to move to the right of the screen along the y-axis. That's what I'm going to have. Basically, I know that doesn't make sense, because on the keyboard you think you press W, you go forward, but on the screen the cube is going to the right. But what I'm going to do later on is you've got to imagine you're this cube. Doesn't matter what angle you're looking at it from. But say you're looking at it from this angle, then it makes sense. W goes forward. You see, it's going forward. So basically, yeah, I'm having it like that. So yeah, stick with me, and you'll see what happens. You'll see why. Because I might change the camera angles later, and then that'll make sense. So that's why I chose to do that. And for some reason, that's not accepting the W. It is now. Okay, again we add the AND controller. The AND controller, I should say. Right, okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to assign a 0. So when that's 0, then it's going to go in that direction. So when the game starts, so every time you change so let's put a property in. Property here, we put it in. Assign the direction property, which we've just put on the left game property there. So we just put direct. So direction. That's going to be 0. So when it's 0, it's going to travel in a certain direction, which is going to be the Y direction. And yeah, so when the game starts, it's straight away going that direction because I've set that on 0, so the direction before setting anything. So we connect all these up, and there we go. There's the first one done. Right, save that. Okay, so after that, we then going to do the motion. So now that it's in 0, we've got to tell it that if it's in 0, what motion it's going to have. Where's it going to go? So we add we could. Okay, so we add the motion, and we'll add the property. So if direction is equal to 0, then we're going to move in. What should I have that? 0.15. So motion. So we'll change the character motion. Going across the y-axis, we're going to make it move to the right. Well, really, it's going to go. The cube in its own view is going to go forward. So we're going to have it going this way, and we're going to do 0.15. We don't want it flying off the screen, so we have it that. And again, yeah, the and controller, and we whack that in there. Okay. Save. So when the game starts, you should move straight away. There we go. It's going like that. Things you might have noticed in this, I've made a cube. I've added a few things to this. I've added a trapdoor here. Basically, I've just cloned the floor of this pit, and I've just copied it up to the top and changed the material up here. That's all I've done there. What else have I done? That's all I've done. I moved this barrier up a bit because it's over a join now. So look at this. I've just put it over that join because you'll see why later. Because I've added some more gameplay mechanics into this. And I needed a bit more space for the player to jump because it was just impossible. I had like 30 goes because later on you'll see why. I had 30 goes in this method and to get over a barrier because I had something in the way. But we'll move on to that later. Yeah, so we've got the two properties in now. So we're telling that cube to go in one direction at the moment. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to have the player be able to jump now. We had that in there before, but I'm going to add this in again, so just do this quickly. Jump. I'm going to assign that to the space key. Or should I add that to the Q? I add that to space for now. It feels more arcadey. If you guys don't like that, I can change that key later on. Or have the option where you can change it yourself in the game. Right, now we're going to have... what should I have next? Look at my notes. Motion. We'll go to... motion, and we just do this character again. And we'll have that 0.30, so 0.30, add that in, and Bob's your uncle. Let's have a go. Start game. Yep, that's lovely. You see it's floating. The reason for that, we've got to apply the force down. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to add labels to these as well, so we know on the top of this one here, I'm going to add a label where it says keyboard. I'm just going to put travel Y axis, so we know travel Y axis. I'll put a keyboard because you're pressing the keyboard to travel on the Y axis. Travel Y axis. I'll put pos, so it says we're going the positive way along. Because negative, so positive's going to the right and positive's going to the left. You know what I mean? So put a K in there like that. We'll copy that. Put it in here so we know it's to do with that, because these get confusing later, so we know they're sort of linked together. You don't have to put labels on these, it's not going to affect any of the mechanics of the game, just changing them. But I kind of like to do that, keep it a bit tidy. I'll change some for now, I won't change them all, so it'll take me forever. So travel, yeah, and we'll just call this one travel Y. So it's doing the same thing, but it's not with a keyboard, so just take the chaos. Travel Y axis positive, put that in there. I might as well zoom in so you guys can see better. There you go. So we do travel y-axis positive K, and that's basically it. So spacebar is jump, so we're just going to put literally jump in there. So that's basically, we've got the basic mechanics again of this player. The layout should be a lot better. Oh yeah, by the way, on these game properties I'm going to put an eye on there so they sharpen debug window so we can see what's going on. Right. So now we've got the jump. Now we're going to apply the force down, because at the moment that cube was just flying upwards in the air. So again, I'm just going to quickly add a always apply. You can call that anything. Apply force. Apply force down. That's pretty self-explanatory. That's what we want to go for. They're reminders for us why we're putting them in there. I think, why are we doing that? And now we know why, because I'm labelling them properly. See, I'm failing to label things already. I've got to put jump in there, and then I'll copy this one into that one. So we just sort of link together. I'll name these properties later down that side. I'm just getting a bit much. Right, let's go. So now we've got to add in another motion, and then we just put in the false, and that was, what did I put that at 40? Yeah, so minus 40. Or was it 40? I can't remember. These notes are a bit blurry. Let's try 40 and see what happens. Save that, and we'll just have a quick muck about. Game start, and why isn't that doing anything? It's not behaving itself. Oh, it's because I've got to link the bloody thing up. Look at that. Ah, so many annoying little things. You've got so much on your brain at the same time. It's just ridiculous. That kind of moving then when you're doing that, sort of jump to the side then, didn't it? Oh, that'll do for now. That'll do. I'm happy with that. Not sure about, I'm happy about the minus figure, but if it's minus or plus, but it seems to be doing its job, so we'll keep it like that for now. Right, okay, so what we can do, we can just call that apply false down over here. Okay, we'll do that, and this motion we just call jump as well. Yeah, I'll just name them all the same basically, and it's not going to ruin anything. Just so we can visualise where these are connected to, because sometimes they get so crisscrossy, these connectors and all these boxes, you just don't know where you are in the end. I've done a game with all these logic bricks, and I've just totally lost the plot, and I've just spent hours backtracking on what I've done, why doesn't it work, or why does it work. I've deleted some good stuff when I didn't need to, just because I got confused within all these logic bricks. You can code all this manually in a notepad, which would probably be a lot easier, but I don't really know enough code to get this going. I haven't learnt Python. That's the coding on this, and yeah, it'd probably be good if I did learn it, because it saved me a lot more hassle, I suppose, than doing it through this way. But so basically, you have to rely on your own logic. So if you haven't got good logic like me, you're screwed really. Okay, let's press the D. I'll move this across the x-axis now. So we're moving this. This would be, from the cube's view, it'd be going right, but on the screen it'd be going towards us the south, so it'd be coming downwards. It'd be coming down. The cube would be going this way. That's what I'm going to have. So when you press the D, it's going to go that way. So that'd be an interesting one. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to have, so we press D, we have another controller, and we'll stick in a motion. And we'll, I already put an and in there already, so ignore that one. Getting ahead of myself. Right, D and motion. We'll put in, what should I have in here then? 0.15. And that would be along the x-axis, will it? Yes, it will. Right, go to motion, 0.15. Now, as you notice now, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm not telling. At the moment, when you hit the D, it won't continuously travel in that direction, south or along the x-axis. It won't travel just down automatically. Like the travel. Instead, at the moment when the game starts, it's travelling in that direction all the time. But when you press the other key, the D, it's going to travel this way, but it's not going to just constantly travel. You're going to give the player a bit of a go of controlling this cube themselves basically. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to click, just get this going again. So when you watch this, it's going to keep going in that direction we set it as in the beginning, but when you press the D, it's just going to move a little bit to the right, you see. So what I'm going to have, the idea of this is we're going to be able to pick up pickups above these barriers here. I'm going to have like a circle, a pickup here, up here above this thing. So the circles, pickups, or spheres, whatever you want to call them, whatever I'm going to put there, they're going to be to the left of the barrier or the right, and basically the person's going to have to like move their character to the left or right while jumping. So there's not going to be much time for them to do it, and that's why I've had to move this second barrier back a bit, because having to move right or left, then jump for the next barrier, it didn't give me enough time. And out of 30 tries, I only just scraped it, and then I failed. I fell into the pit in this other bit here. So that was a bit of a problem, really. So we don't want problems that early on. Okay, so back to the game mechanics, and here we go. Now we're going to add the A control. So we're going to add that, so we can move in another direction. So we're going to just do keyboard, we're just going to add the A, just click that. Do another AND controller, bang that in, whack that in there. And we'll do another motion, and we'll do character. Link those together. Now we've got to tell it which direction it's going in. So the A1 is removing this in -15 on the X. So basically what I'll be doing is, this is the X, so minus will be that way. So the cube will be going to its own left way. So when we press A, the cube will go that way. That'd be cool. You get that one? I don't. Yeah, I'm confusing myself now, but we'll get there. So I said minus 0.15, didn't I? I did say that, didn't I? Minus 0.15. Would you believe I worked this out like a few hours ago. I just did a whole test play, a different file loaded up, trying to get this working, and this is the best it works. And they're always going to find problems and a better way of doing things, but when you're trying to record in fraps and trying to do a decent video, don't make it too boring and long-winded, which I'm failing on probably. No, but it's nice to have like reference materials how to make a game yourself, so I thought I'd make it. So there you go. The next thing is, so now we're going to play test that one, so let's have a go and see if it works. So now we've got A and D, so he goes left and he goes right, there we go, and we jumps of course. So that's the first bit done. We're practically there now. I basically don't want him to go back, like, what I mean back is this way along the y-axis. I don't want him to go backwards, because the player can cheat, because as he's going automatically going forwards, I don't want the player to slow the cube down by pressing back so he can jump over the barriers easier. That's just a big flaw in the plan. And as the game's starting off on 0, in the direction of 0, so it's going towards the right here, or the cube is going forwards there like that. I don't need to put this keyboard control W in, I've noticed, so I'm going to delete that as well. So we're going to have that. So you click save, it'll still go forwards, just so you watch. So we just don't need to have the W in there, because I don't want the player sort of mucking up that control. They're hitting forwards, I don't need to, then it's just sending the wrong signal there. We don't need any signal being sent, because it's just automatically going. Anyway, that's that sorted. So we've got all the directions sorted. Now for now, what we're going to have is like a score system. So when the player picks something up which I haven't put in the game yet, or in the last video I did, but I've deleted it because I want to start again, because it'd be too confusing. So yeah, add a score system now. So what I'm going to do is have it so it works. So we've got the add to score. That'll be the first thing. So when you hit a pickup, I'm going to get this pickup to send a message to this player. So even though we haven't created a pickup yet, we're going to add all the mechanics in here now. So we're going to pick up the message from when we hit the pickup. So the pickup is going to be called, I'll call it add to score. Simple as that. I put it in here first, add, I'll keep it to my notes so I don't make any mistakes, to score, and we'll paste that into there, and we'll add a AND controller, put that in there, and so when it receives the message, we'll do, right, we're going to do 3 of these. First of it's going to do, it's going to add a number 1. No, I won't give it 1. I'll give it 10 points. So when you pick up a pickup, you're going to get 10 points. That's pretty decent, isn't it? So what we're going to do is we're going to have a property, and we're going to not have a sign. We're going to have add, because every time you hit a pickup, it's going to add to this total. So I've already created on the top left there a game property called score. Pickup, I've called it. So call pickup. And what we're going to do is we're going to add 10. So every time you hit that pickup, it's going to get pick up 10. So basically, click a lot, saying basically a lot. Right, that's sorted. So now we're going to add another property. So we're going to get another score. So the next score we will have is the add to score multiplier. So that'd be interesting. So I'm going to put that in here. Add to score M. I do. Oops, wrong one. Did that in the wrong box. Should be doing it on this property down here. Just to confuse you all, I just add to score here. Right. Okay, done. Right, so now on this one, what we're doing is we're going to have, again we're going to have add, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to have that multiplier going up by 1 every time they hit a pickup. So say, you know, even though your times tables, hit a 10 on your first pickup in a 1, that's 1 times 10 is 10, and so on. I can't do any more times tables, so don't ask me the next one. So you add, and we'll do this one will be to score multiplier. Make sure you're selecting the right property here. So I've set up game score multiplier on the top left there as a property. So yeah, click that, and that'll be 1. And you link that to the same gate because it's all having the same action. So when you hit that pickup, it's going to do these 2 actions at once. And I'm going to add the third one now. Now this is getting quite interesting now. I'm running out of workspace with these logic bricks, which is annoying me immensely. There you go. Assign, so what we're going to do is on this one, we'll keep it on the sign, because what we're going to do is we're going to total up this score. It's going to do the times in now. It's times in these 2 boxes, the pickup and the score together, and it's going to put it in the grand total, or what I've called here score T. So score total. And so now what we're going to do is we're just going to have pickup. So whatever you named it, your property, so you can do pickup, and then we're going to have the times, which is the star on the computer, and then it's going to be score M. And make sure you've capitalisation or make sure all your uppercase letters, make sure it's exactly as the property is. Oh, so it just won't work basically. Right, we can't test these out right now because we've got to put the pickups in the game. So what we do is save this so we don't lose a lot of work, because that would be devastating if we lost that. So there we have it. So we've got basic input controls, and we have the scoreboards put in place. For future updates it should be easier to organise this a lot more. Right, now we're going to add some barriers. You can see some barriers on the screen at the moment. They're like full on blocky yellow barriers. Well, basically when you hit a barrier, I want the player to die. So that's simple as that. So what we're going to do is when the game starts, I want to give the player the option here if they can pass the barriers without jumping over them. But if they do that, if they reach the end of this path, the end of this level, they won't be able to finish it. It won't let you finish. They have to at least jump at least 1 barrier by picking up 1 pickup at least. I haven't decided how many pickups, but they pick a pickup penguin, whatever. If they pick up a pickup, then the next barrier will be blocked up, so they have to jump over that next barrier. So it's a bit of a gameplay strategy here going on. So yeah, there's that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 types of barriers. So we're going to have an empty barrier they can just pass through if they wish, but they can. It sounds like they're cheating, but then they won't have a big score at the end of it. If they don't pick one of these pickups up, there'll be no score. So it'll look rubbish on their behalf. So if they pick up pickups, then there's going to be more barriers placed in their way. So that's going to be interesting. So what we're going to do, hopefully, so what we're going to do is we're going to clone one of these barriers. So at the moment we've just got this one here. So I've named this 1B. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have the barrier. So we're going to do just duplicate and keep it in its place. So I hit duplicate and I hit enter, so it's there. Okay, so that's called, I'll call this barrier 1 as is B there already. So we have 2 barriers here. So right mouse click in the same place, it changes from up here to the description to 1 to 1B. Right, so now we're going to have the second barrier, which is barrier 1B. This is going to have like a wire mesh because I want it to look empty. So the thing we'll do is we'll go into the options, which will be the material. We'll look at the material. So the material will be here, and we're just going to literally click on wire. So there we have it. You won't see anything at the moment because the barrier 1 we're going to hide it. So hit barrier 1 and we'll go into visible. So when we start the game, this is what you'll see. You see the wire. Doesn't that look nice? That just looks nice and futuristic. And if you're wondering about the cube, I did that earlier when I wasn't recording. I've done the same with the cube. I changed the material, went into the material. I just click wire instead of surface. I just click the wire. Same with the floor. So it has a nice retro effect. Look at that. I love that. That's just brilliant. So that is basically what I've done. So again, we've just do the same with these others here because we've just got one barrier at the moment, so we just duplicate that one as well. Duplicate, hit enter, and I'll rename that newly created one as barrier 2. So you've got barrier 2 and 2B, or not to be, and so we've got that one here, barrier 1. Just got the wire mesh. Okay, they're sharing the same material, that's annoying. The way it's going works is, as I've duplicated the object, it shares the same material, which I want different materials. So I'm going to have to delete, I'll go to barrier 1B, so I'm going to delete the material, just create a new one quick, and I'll copy the colour, because we've got to copy the colour now, for the same, for the other material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the other barrier, barrier 1B, see, so we get this exactly the same colour. So I'll copy it and paste it into there, and I'll to make them glow, I'll put 50 in the emit there in the shading, emit I should say, and change it to wire. So now that should be fine. I say should be fine. So you have one. So oh yeah, that should be changed to surface. Right, okay. So we change between the two. Yeah, see one's full, as you see in the right pane here. One's the fill up, one's wire. That's what we want. You've got to do the rest. Do the same with the others as well. Because that'll show up. Because basically, when the game starts, there'll be wires. So they just look like you can pass through them. So that's what I want. Then later on, if they pick a pickup up, then one of these barriers will show up, and they should then be forced to jump over it. Because that's the choice they made. And now it should just show up as wires. Look at that. And they're passing through all the barriers because they're sort of placeholders. That's how I wanted it. It's a mystical feeling. You may have noticed this music I put in the game. I'll link in the description where I got the music from. It's just space music. It's free music to use. I'm just gonna put in the description who it's by and all that. It's just a nice mystical sound. I don't know if you can even hear it on this Raps actually. But what I've done is just added an empty. I went down to here, there's an empty on here somewhere. A mesh it could be, I can't remember. Force fields group, cameras, empty, there you go. It doesn't matter which one I just clicked sphere or something. I right mouse clicked it, and then down here I just put an always on because it's always going to play music, and gate, and I've put a sound. So you just in here, you literally got the option of sound, and yeah, it's there. So you just open up the file down here. Just click open. You can select where the music's coming from, and then that's basically it. So that'll play all the time then. So it gives it a bit of atmosphere. So this is what we've got at the moment anyway. So we click camera and we'll click start. You can jump and you can move left and right. That's pretty good, isn't it? Right, with barrier 1 selected, make sure it's barrier 1, not the other barrier 1B, because barrier 1B is going to be the hidden one. I don't want any interaction with the wireframe ones. They're just going to be floaty, you can run through them. But barrier 1 is going to be a physical object where the player's going to run into, and it could actually hurt them. Well, it will hurt them. So we're going to add, for now we're going to add in a property again in this one called it exists. That's it. Voila. We put that check in there so we can check what's going on in the game. Okay, we're going to add a message in here. We haven't done the pickups yet, but what we're going to do is when the pickup hit a pickup, it's going to send a message to this barrier. It's going to say fill barrier 1. So what basically that means is that it's going to show up. This barrier is going to come in onto this. It's going to come into the playing field when it gets that message. So if the player picks the pickup up, it's going to start activate that barrier. So they're going to have to jump over that barrier. But if they don't pick it up, then it's just going to be just a wireframe they can just run straight through. I hate that pick up a pin green advert, but I'll keep referring to that, so bear with me. So put visibility on here, so visibility, and Y is a V at the top. I see, it's going alphabetical, you're upwards, okay, descending. Right, okay, so go like that. So basically I start the game with it not being invisible, and now it is. When you collide with a pickup that I'm going to put in there, it's going to say, right, make that visible, that barrier, because it's going to be existing in this game world. So now we're going to have a collision detection. So we're going to have a collide. Guess what? It's going to be with a player again. could have enemies in this as well, and you could have them colliding and all sorts, but it's just to make it too confusing for now. And we're going to have assign exists. So basically, we want to say that we want to tell the game it exists now. So we're going to add a property. So when it equals 1, that means it exists. So I have a sign. I don't want any adding on this point because that's where it all goes wrong. A sign. So just put a 1 in. It won't keep adding a 1. That's what you don't want. I used to do that. You put add in and add a 1, and you go, hang on, it's going up in numbers here, but there's nothing's happening. So because I set it wrong. So yeah, we set the collision up now. So we've got the assign to the property exists. So you're saying, oh, that now exists. So what happens when it exists? So now you're putting now if it exists. So if property if the value is 1, it exists. Then we'll have some fun. So what we do now, so we do property and we just do exists. So if it exists, as I said, which is a 1, I'm going to put it in with this one here, same with the collision. So when it exists and a player collides into it, then I basically want this game to restart because it's like game over for them because they've hit it. So property, oh no, not property, what we're doing, do game, where's game on here? There it is. Restart. Yep, so I'm telling that it exists and the players hit it, so that's the end of that. And we'll do the same with the rest of the barriers. But what I'm going to do, instead of just going on and on, there's so many barriers to sort out. You get the picture here, and I'm just going to go on. When I'm not recording this, I'm just going to keep doing the same to the rest of the barriers. Sorry, when you pick up the first pickup, it's going to bring up this barrier. You have to jump over the first one, and it's going to bring the second one up. So when they jump, if they pick the second pickup, it's going to open this trapdoor, so they're going to have to jump over it. But they don't have to pick these pickups up, so if they don't, they can just go straight across this platform. But they have to get at least one pickup to end the level. That's my idea anyway. So like, as I say, I'm not going to go over every barrier. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in a pickup now to show you how that works, the coding on that, and then that'll probably be it for today. Let's see what do add mesh, and we do icosphere. Right, so we whack that in the game. We'll get it in a place where the player can get it for now. I won't worry about too much about placement. Just want to see if it works. Let's go. Just change the view so I can see where we're going with this. There we go. Move it to there, and that's a bit low. You might miss it altogether. That would do. Lovely. And don't forget to name things. So we click on the box here, and we call that pickup 1. Because it does matter when you name things. Because as you saw when I'm coding, it gets pretty confusing if you don't. Right. Okay. So now we've got the pickup. So we're going to add a collision. What else? We collide with the not pulse. Material. The player again. So we're going to click that, add one of those, and then we're going to do add to score. So we're basically going to send a message to the score we set up earlier in the player. We're going to say we've picked up something now, so we've got to add it to the score. So we've set the score system up in the player, so we don't got to worry about that. So that's why I had to show them bits first. So we're going to do it to, not property, what am I doing? Message. Right, message. We do message to call in player, we need you. Right, so player, we do add to score. Now make sure you get these labels right, otherwise the score won't add up. I've done that before, made the spelling mistake. I spent hours wondering why the thing didn't work. It's like any coding really. Okay, well this ain't coding, this is logic bricks, but it's the same sort of thing. Now we're going to add in a fill barrier. So we say when you're picking up the first pickup, we want to put the barriers up because the players chose to make it harder for themselves. But they're going to get rewards by getting more points. So what we're going to do is we're going to add in a fill barrier. I'll call it a fill barrier. So we add in so there's going to be adding another message, because basically you're sending a message to the barriers to exist. So the second barrier won't work because we've only coded the first barrier at the moment, but we'll get to that in a minute. All these are coming off the same collision at the moment, so we're going to do to barrier 1 because that's what we named it. It's come up in the list, fantastic, and we're going to say to that one. Fill barrier 1. Okay, nice one. So that's that, and then we're going to add fill barrier 2. which won't work because I won't do it for now then, because we won't set the other barrier up. And now when that's done, that pickup, I don't want the player to pick that up twice, because that's cheating. They'll get loads of points for nothing, for not doing anything. So what we do, we just literally end object. So that'll just take it out of the game. Now let's see if this works. So go save and just bring this down. Right, hopefully this will work. Game start. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's brought the barrier up. Look at that. There you go. Lovely. And that's how it should work. So if you want to play the game, you don't want to pick up. It makes it easier. You can just go straight on. But if they pick the pickup up, they hit the tick too soon, they're going to hit the barrier. So it's a nice bit of tactics there. But when they pick that first pickup up, what's going to happen is it's going to set the other barrier off as well. So it's going to set like these two up, and they have to jump over that one. And then when they pick up the second pickup, it's going to open that trapdoor, and they're going to have to jump over that as well. But that's why I'm having like left and right controls, because the player is going to have to navigate. I'm going to set these pickups. I'm going to have like one on the left here, like this. Then I'm going to duplicate it and have one on the right, so they're going to have to go left and right whilst jumping. So that's why I had to make that second barrier, make a bit more distance in that second barrier. So that is it for today, and next episode I'm going to have a mechanism. So when they get to the player gets to the end, right to the end down here, they're going to have to travel back the other way. The direction is just going to change permanently, going the other way, and they're going to have to fire the barriers with a laser. If they don't fire the barriers, then they're just going to have to jump them, and it just gives them a chance to get a few more points. And that's going to be the next game, having them fire a weapon out the cube. That'd be interesting. I can't see that going wrong, but yeah, that'd be fine. Game start, and we jump. Yes, and look at that, isn't that wonderful? Then you can change. There you go, and we're falling off the world. Now it's spoiled the illusion that we're just in a skydome. I thank you for watching, meddlers.